Hi and welcome to all the racing enthusiasts joining us for this pre-recorded show, and hopefully Friday the 28th of March will be your lucky night and all the winners will come streaming in. It is a double header. I've just done the Fairview show and now we're doing the KwaZulu-Natal show at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the turf. And just reading between the lines and looking at the suggestions, I don't think there is a false rail on the day, and there has been a little bit of rain around, so it could come up a little bit on the soft conditions, but we'll have to see. But joining me in studio, Dees, firstly, how are you doing? And secondly, we just want to get some racing underway.
Yeah, especially in KZN, we've been missing our racing. Stop-start has been the way it's been going over the last few weeks or so. But really nice. TGIF to Greyville, it's Friday, exciting race meeting. We've got some features to look forward to as well. The Umzimkhulu Stakes, the Bali Turk, the KwaZulu-Natal Stakes, along with a very competitive card. And I trust that the racing fans are well. I'm looking forward to this twilight meeting.
100%. Now, what we're not really looking forward to is trying to find the winner in the first race, because it's an absolute nightmare. Later on in the card, we'll point you in the right direction. But the first race, a little bit gun-shy. Number 10, Danube, 22-10, and that's from an opening call of 3-1. Scratch number 9, Doing Time, so there will be some deductions. Number 2, Firelighter, 4-1, and then at 7-1 and better, a host of runners. You've got to be a bit of a brave man unless you've really found something in the first race.
Yeah, I think everything will point to Danube, but Daryl Moore's a runner that's debuting for the yard. Maybe those Gauteng maiden form lines too strong for our locals here, and I see they've got an equipment change on the horse. Hasn't raced with cheek pieces before. We'll try them on for the first time. With a bit of luck from the draw, could be the right horse if you trust the form lines coming through from the Highveld. When we have a look at our local runners, I did give this horse a chance, Sovereign Command, the last time he was carded to race, and of course that race meeting was abandoned. And there was a support for him prior to that race meeting from 33-1 into 8-1. Yeah, he's not the most reliable, but the claim for, I think, is a help. The runner that interests me a lot, of our locals, if I have to choose one horse, it'll be Katavar. I know that he's had a few chances, but considering the way he was ridden last time out by Matthew Thackeray, chased from that wide draw, it wasn't the worst of runs because he was entitled to get tired. He's now nicely drawn, a similar type of ride, but Jabo Jacobs, also cheek pieces on, not the blinkers. I think he'll be competitive. And then Firelighter for MJ Odendaal from a nice draw of 2, the way he was finishing last time out from that poor draw, could be one that will feature. And I see in the past he has raced up handy, so I don't think that good draw will be wasted. So selections here, Sheldon, with no degree of confidence. 10 to beat 5, 7 and 2.
Well, all I'm going to say is that's all, brother. That's number 1, Andrew Fortune riding for MJ Odendaal, and that's a wrap for race number 1.
Well, with the 9 races carded on Friday, twilight racing at Hollywoodbets Greyville, the exotics will begin in race number 2, which will kick off the bipod at 16:05. It's a class 5 over 1,200 meters, and as we bring up the field, we will have a look at the betting. Well, this race is wide open if the betting is to be a guide, and horses that are in single figures. Number 4, Wherever I Lay My Hat, that is trading at 8-1. Number 5, One Irish Rover at 8-1. 6, Now I Got You at 5-1. Number 7, Purple Powerhouse is at 4-1. 9, Sahara Dawn at 7-1. And 10, Glamours at 11-2. One other runner in single figures, number 12, Drive By at 8-1. Well, this race kicks off the bipod, and I'm just going to give you my top 3 selections here in order of preference. Sheldon, is going to be 6, 7, and 5. Now I Got You. Well, I know that we all seem to sing off the same hymn sheet when it comes to his merit rating and how it's come down. It's the lowest that it's been in his career. And with the claim 2.5 kgs, well, I think that is a big positive. I haven't gone for him of late. I've been waiting for the right type of field, and the way Bevan Plykes has been riding him of late, I personally think that with 55.5 kgs on his back against this type of field, he seems to be off the right mark against the right field. He looks like the right horse in the race. As I mentioned, whilst we always give him his airtime, we are still waiting for him to get that second career win. There's one form line where he is well better off at the weights with a horse like Irish Rover, and that's 4 starts back when second. If you work it out and you do the math with Bevan Plyke's up, it's 9.5 kgs, so that brings him right into the race. Number 6, Now I Got You. Number 7, Purple Powerhouse. Well, I'm going for 2 horses, Sheldon, that
Low confidence.
how low? I mean, it's so long. You know, how can you tip these horses with confidence as well? These horses haven't won in such a long time, but it's that type of race. And Purple Powerhouse, 1,138 days. But a model of consistency, that 5th career win has eluded him for such a long time. I think he'll be duly rewarded. And then number 5, I mentioned the weight turnaround does favor Now I Got You, but I'll give that horse a mention. I'm hoping that those 3 runners will be good enough for the bipod.
Well, Dee, we sing from the same hymn sheet. Number 6, Now I Got You. It's one of those horses that, as you mentioned, we've been waiting in the wings, waiting for the right race. And for a number of occasions, I've wanted to back him, but I've just put my foot off the pedal and off the gas and and I've said, wait. And you can only wait so long when you find the right race. I want to see this horse with a little bit more fire early on. He's a horse who just seems to jump out. He seems to just go through the motions. And when the race is over, he decides to turn it on. So I'm hoping that Bevan Plyke's can get him a little bit closer into a nice, handy striking position. And if he can't win this race, then I'm afraid he's going to struggle to win another race, because this is the ideal race from a 106 down to a 62, minus the weight. I think a little bit of change of tactics, maybe warm him up behind the gates. I just want to see a little bit more ferocity from the saddle there, and I think he'll win.
Because when you analyze the opposition, whilst we know over a sprint strip there will be speed, but there's really no speedster in the race that's going to go to the front. Like we're going to be guaranteed a likely horse in front, and I think that could be the key. This horse, he doesn't have to be the smartest out the gates to get into a nice position from draw 6 out of the 12 runners. So you could be spot on. A bit more handily ridden. Number 6, Now I Got You. He looks like the right horse in the race. So Sheldon and I both in the camp of number 6, Now I Got You, currently trading at around 5-1. The bipod I mentioned, I'm going to include numbers 6 and 7, just the 2 runners. Take a chance, in or out. Will you suggest the same?
I'd suggest the same. And then for the trifectas and quartets, number 1, Ultra Quick. I think that's a horse worth throwing in, and that could be a nice place bet, number 1, Ultra Quick. But number 6, Now I Got You, I think we're good there.
Well, let's see if we can get this one right on Friday.
As we step into the ring for race number 3, which will be contested over 1,200 meters, and just looking at the betting, number 2, Bevy's Delight, that is your current 3-1 joint favorite, with number 4, Convocation. Number 5, Katiwe's Destiny, also there, so 3-way go for favoritism, 3-way joint, Katiwe's Destiny. 5-1 Captain's Christie, and then at 7-1 and better the rest of the field. Now, Dee's looking at race number 3, number 2, Bevy's Delight. There was a lot of support last time out when stumbled, rushed, slow, quite a few excuses, 3rd to Warrior Royale, and she's going to have her supporters. Number 4, Convocation, last time out, looked the right horse in the field. She came through to win. And then number 5, Katiwe's Destiny, an interesting runner, ran behind Quid Pro Quo and Captain Bombshell. So how do you make race number 3? Where will you be lying?
I'm going with 2 runners here. In the previous race, I suggested 2 horses. I mentioned there's some nice racing, some quality fields. Although this is not one of our features, it's a nice field. The average rating here is a 90. The 2 runners are going to be numbers 2 and 5. Yeah, Bevy's Delight. You mentioned the support last time out. Well, the talk was so big on course, and of course ran a good race, but could not get the job done. 1.5 lengths behind Warrior Royale. Nicely drawn at 2, a horse that has run fairly well at the track, considering that she's had 8 runs here. She has won, but just a 1 second. 1,400 meters last time out. I don't know, if that is something that may have found her out, because she was 1.5 lengths behind Warrior Royale at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. But from a good draw of 2, I'm expecting a super positive ride from Gavin Arena from what I saw last time out. And I'm not surprised that Peter Muscat is dropping it to 1,200 meters. So she'll run well. And then Katiwe's Destiny, the 3-year-old. You mentioned that, as a 2-year-old, she was tried in the best of company in some of her races, one of them being the Golden Slipper. She was given a lengthy break. I don't know the reason why for the layoff, but her comeback run was okay. The average rating there was a 106, and this is a 92. So I think the Mike and Matthew de Kock team have found the right race for her. That African Holly race last time out was a hot field, so I'm expecting her to build on that last start. And against this type of field, while she's still a young 3-year-old taking on older horses, I think there's more to come from her, because just having watched her when she was a young horse, she showed a lot of potential. You can also see Fiery Pegasus in a form line, and we know what she's gone on to do for Joe Soma. So those two runners for me, once I start looking past those, then it becomes an absolute nightmare. So I'm suggesting numbers 2 and 5 in the PA.
Well, I'll go with these there, numbers 2 and 5. So numbers 2 and 5, the ones to beat. And then number 4, Convocation. And maybe number 1, Get in the Queue for the minor positions.
Race number 4 will be the start of the big one. It's the Pick 6, and it's over 1,600 meters. It's a class 3 for fillies and mares, and Pick 6 on Friday is worth having a go. Let's bring up the field, have a look at some betting. Number 1, Sovereign Grant at 11-2. Number 3, Give Me Everything. That's trading at 15-10. 6, Ice Rain is at 6-1. And horse number 9, Spirit of Lavana, that is trading at 6-1. So that's the field, that's the betting. I am sticking with the 2 horses that I am going with the trend from races 2, 3, and 4. And this time it's just 2 runners that are going to be number 3, Give Me Everything, and number 6, Ice Rain Sheldon. This horse, Give Me Everything, she's starting to grab my attention now, that just the way she's been winning. After those 2 nice warm-up runs over shorter, she's shown the ability once they put her over further. What mark she's capable of achieving, we'll see during Campania and KZN. But the fact that she's down here, I think Dean Kaname has got a plan for her during the KZN champion season. She's already achieved a rating of 98. It could be higher. I think this is a nice test for her. And then I got a lot of respect for number 6, Ice Rain. When a horse just continues to win and seems to have loved the move down to KZN 2 from 2, and the way she wins her races, she seems to do it effortlessly. She just switches off in running. Serena Moody gets the right tune out of her. And 2 from 2 in KZN, at home at the course, having won there at a penultimate start where she came from a hopeless position that day. She's got all the signs of a very good filly. So at 6-1, I'll make her the value in the race. But how good is number 3, Give Me Everything? I think this race will tell us a bit more, and she's going for 4 in a row, which is always difficult. 3 and 6, good enough in all bets.
Yes, I think 3 and 6, good enough. Give Me Everything, number 3. I was at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth presenting that day when she won, and I was very strong on her. She was taking on a lot stronger, but I just thought the extra trip would be up her alley, and obviously bringing her here for the feature races, so they think very highly of her, and she will be the horse that they all have to beat. 1,600 is going to be a little bit sharp, but I'm hoping that she's going to be fresh, and she'll be able to come through with flying colours. Number 6, Ice Rain, very versatile, absolutely loving it in KwaZulu-Natal, and course and distance unbeaten. 3 of the 6 runs over the distance wins, so 50% distance win strike rate. And then throw number 1, Sovereign Grant, who's been very, very close up of late. So I think between numbers 1, 3, and 6, we should have our bases all covered in this event. Welcome back for race number 5, which is the KwaZulu-Natal Stakes for all horses, non-black type, no allowances over 1,200 meters. And yeah, our big mare return, Sharfolia, named after my daughter Shiloh and Sophia, and she's done us exceptionally proud for the Hollywood Racing. She's a joint 18-10 favourite with number 6, Teflon Man, and then you go number 4, Good Traveller at 11-2. Now, we've been waiting for this race for a long time, Dees. When you look at number 1, Sharfolia, after she ran in the Group 1 South African filly sprint, they hit her from a 96 to a 102. So it was difficult for us to find races for her. She's always had to run against the boys. And if you look at her last couple of runs behind Captain Bombshell and William Robertson, so she's taken on the best of the best. She beat Bevy's Delight 3 runs back. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, we've got to take on the boys again. But Greyville's her game. She's won a heck of a lot of races here, and the 1200 meters is her trip. 3 of her 5 wins have come over the trip. And from that number 1 draw, I think we're going to catch them on the break, 54.5 kilograms on the back. And I think Teflon Man, he's going to be eating down the ground late on. But I'm hoping the line comes in time for Sharfolia. And she's been waiting a while for this race. And we're quietly confident that she's going to hold number 6, Teflon Man. And hopefully for the family and for Hollywood, she can do it for us.
I think that she's found the right type of field, even though she's racing in open company. She has been racing in some highly competitive races. Average rating is 106, the African Holly. Marula sprint last time out of 104. William Robertson is a seriously good horse. The average rating here is 100. From draw number 1 with 54.5 kgs on her back, the way she races over the distance, the strength of her form line behind William Robertson, I think she will have the run of the race and the horse to beat. I agree. Again, 2 horses for me. This 2-horse trend seems to be going throughout the meeting because, whilst it is competitive, you can make cases for a few of the other runners. I think you're right. Number 1, Sharfolia, the runner to beat. Teflon Man, I don't know. With these horses that are coming down from the Western Cape for our season, we are not privy to the information unless it's passed on from trainer to presenter and then to the valued racing fan on the day. But I don't know how these horses have settled down, how they're taking their travel and how they're doing. But obviously the fact that they're racing so quickly, this horse just raced on, what's the date there? The 16th of March.
12 days ago.
Yeah, so he's obviously taken his travel down well and he's ready to go. So that just tells you about the well-being of this horse, number 6, Teflon Man. That last start behind Gem King was a seriously good run. And he's another horse. Dean Kaname has kept him in the best of company down in the Western Cape and when he was racing here in KZN. He has won twice over the distance. And you're right, the speed is on. How many horses go to post? 8 runners. Even if he's towards the back of the field, he's not going to have too many runners to pass by. But I think the runner that he certainly will have to pass by is going to be number 1, Sharfolia, to win the race. So I'm with you, numbers 1 and 6, and if I have to tip the exact straight line, we'll go 1 to beat 6.
Well, I'm fully on your page. Number 1, Sharfolia. We're not going to give away that draw. She's going to jump. She's a galloper. And let's see if Teflon Man can inhale her late on as they come down to that last 100. But we'll be hoping for number 1, Sharfolia, from number 6, Teflon Man.
Well, on to race number 6. It's the Umzimkhulu Stakes, a Group 3 over 1400 meters. And at the time of recording, 8 runners go to post. We bring up the field, have a look at the betting. And horse number 1, Gimmy's Countess. This is trading at 9 to 10. Number 2, Green Sapphire, as at 28 to 10. And we got 1 horse that's been backed anti-post, and that is the stable of Mike Miller. That's in excellent form. The way the stable's going, Mike Miller's yard, one is to take notice of all their runners regardless where they are positioned. This horse has been backed anti-post 5 to 1 into 9 to 2. Number 7, Warrior Royale. Well, I've been going with 2 horses throughout the exotics, and I think I'm going to do the same here. But I think the right horse is at the top of betting boards. You're going to have to be the judge on the price of 9 to 10. Sheldon, before we even give our selections, we can remember this horse, Gimmy's Countess, when she started off her career here in KZN. She grabbed our attention very early. Is it safe to say that what we expected and what she's achieved thus far, she hasn't delivered?
You're on point. She has been an underachiever in her career. She's been a little bit disappointing. We say a little bit disappointing. She hasn't quite reached the heights that we thought she would have. Maybe she's just a late maturer after winning first time out. I remember calling that race like it was yesterday, and I said, wow, this is a horse who's going to go through. She's done terrifically well to a point, but she hasn't reached those heights as yet. This race, I think, is tailor-made for her. And if she gets beat here, I'll be gutted. But saying that, she has been beaten before on a number of occasions. But I just think the real gimmies Countess, back to Durban, Hollywoodbets country. I think she's going to put the record straight. But you always got in the back of your mind, maybe she's a one-hit wonder. We've seen her win 2 of her 8 races to date. She's taken on Asia Pambile, the likes of Quid Pro Quo. And this is going to be a race where I'm hoping that she comes through with flying colours. But at the end of the day, at 8 to 10, like I always say, I don't back odds on favourites because I don't believe there's any value there. But in my pick 6, I'm going to take a chance that I'm going to banker her. And in the other pick 6, I'll add in 1 or 2 extra runners to be safe.
I just want to add to what Sheldon has to say about Gimmy's Countess. It's just the way she races, her running style. You don't want to change that because that's the way she races. She switches off and then she runs on. She almost always is the fastest finisher whenever she races. But look at the number of runners she's been racing against, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 runners, where she's got a lot of horses to pass by. Against this type of field, it's only 8 runners that go to post. So even if she's last turning to the straight and loses that good barrier position of 1, she's only got 7 runners to pass by. And I think her turn of foot will be too strong for this field. How she's traveled down, well, we touched on Kanameya's runner in the previous race. Her last run was on the 22nd of February. And whatever Craig Zaki opts or chooses to do from draw number 1, she will be the fastest finisher in the race. She's by far the best horse in the race. If you look at the best weighted column, she is the horse to beat. The only danger I make is number 2, Green Sapphire. She's been sprinting. Sean Terry is now trying over 1,400 meters. I see no issue with the distance. Gavin Arena is going to tactfully ride this race from draw number 2, knowing that Gimmy's Countess is going to be given a chance by Craig Zaki. And if he's got a horse that will appreciate the extra 200 meters, I think she is the only danger in the race. Of the balance, I mentioned number 7, Warrior Royale, from a very informed yard. You had to like a comeback run. Tristan Godden was full of praise for that victory. She looks like an obvious horse for trifectas and quartets. But in summarizing, number 1, Gimmy's Countess. She is the filly to beat, the right horse at the top of betting boards. If you're looking for one more runner to include in the exotics, it's number 2, Green Sapphire.
Next up will be race number 7, which is the Grade 3 Barley Turk for the 3-year-olds, no allowances. And here we see some up-and-coming individuals. You get a chance to strut their stuff. And talking about up-and-coming individuals, number 7, Cat's Pajamas D is already a 5-time winner from his 10 races to date. So he's got a 50% win strike rate, 13 to 10. Number 5, Oxalis Gold is 33 to 10 with number 6, Kimrick, and then 5 to 1, number 8, Otaniqua. Now, if you like number 7, Cat's Pajamas, number 2, Danton from Stanton, or Stanton from Santon, is 3 kgs better off for a length beating. That's quite a while back when running second to Cat's Pajamas. So for those looking at the weight turnaround, you can throw that in. But the way Cat's Pajamas has been winning, he's been winning close decisions. But I mean, that victory to KwaZulu for sure, that's got a lot of merit to it, these.
Excellent race, excellent win from this horse. Every time I doubt him, and I say doubt him not as a racing fan, but as a punter. And every time I want to take him on, he just seems to, raise his game and win well. His last win, and KwaZulu for sure is a seriously good horse, and as a young 3-year-old, he was a gutsy winner of that race. I was impressed. He goes for 3 in a row. You mentioned a 50% win strike rate. He's priced up at 13 to 10. Gavin Larena is 1 from him, having won on him at his penultimate start. That was over 1,000 meters. Again, I doubted him that day. I said maybe a bit too short, and he got up. He got up to win a very good race. An exciting horse, number 7, Cat's Pajamas. Well, we're going with the 2 horses throughout thus far, and I'm going to stick with 2 runners here. 7, Cat's Pajamas is the 1 horse. And then this horse, Otaniqua. He's a very interesting runner for Andre Nel and Platinum Racing. He debuts in the province. I've watched most of his, in fact, I've watched all of his racing in the Western Cape. Anything from 1,000 up to 1,600 meters suits him fine. The one run, not his wins, that will grab your attention was his run in the Guineas. That day, he ran an absolute blind up. Yes, it was a 10-horse field. There were many that were shied away because one stripe was in the race. But he ran a good race, and the handicapper gave him a penalty for running 5 lengths, finishing back in 4th. running to a 108. Is he a realistic 108 at this stage of his career for being penalized for running fourth in the Guineas? I think we'll know more about his rating during our KZN champion season. I'm on the fence with the distance though. 1,400 meters, 1,600 meters, and 1,200 meters. I don't know which is his best distance. If you have a look at his wins, he was a debut winner over 1,200 meters, and then he won over 1,000 meters. And then he won over 1,200 meters. So all of his wins have been over sprints thus far. But he did show his hand in the Guineas. He's an exciting horse for the stable that's in seriously good form for the yard. I'd like to see what route they take with him. They've opted to go for this race, the 1,400. They actually had him in the 1,200 meter race as well. And then Bahrain was umming and eyeing on which race to go for, but he's opted to keep him against his own age group and see how he goes over this 1,400 meter trip, because they think he could be a candidate for the Guineas later on in the season. And if it's going to be a sprint that he's going to go for, I suspect that the option could be the Golden Horse Sprint. Yeah, because he's a nice horse, I'm sure you've watched his races as well. He's a horse that I'm really eager to see how he goes against this field.
Well, I think this is going to be his test for the stable. They're going to decide whether they're going to keep him to this type of trip or whether they're going to earmark the Golden Horse Sprint and see that 1,200 at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, because it's got that nice incline as well. Yes. So for a horse like this, they're going to go good speed, and on that day, he might rise to the occasion. So you could be spot on here with number 8, Otaniqua, but number 7, Cat's Pajamas. He's a horse he's caught us a few times, 1,000 meters, he's versatile, but the good horses always show their class. So number 7, Cat's Pajamas, and number 8, Otaniqua. Those are the two runners. And then after that, number 2, Danton from Santon. He's a horse worth throwing into the minor play.
Well, race number 8 is the penultimate race on the card. Now we're well into the evening, the lights are on, and it's buzzing at Hollywoodbets Greyville. It's 1,200 meters, class 4 for fillies and mares. At the time of recording, we bring up the field. Number 1, Our Lady Fate, is a late scratching just before coming on air. That was out, and the betting has them like this. Number 2, West Side Story at 8-1. There's been lots of action around this horse. Number 3, 2Gs, 18-10, 15-10. I had one last look before coming on air and previewing this race. Now 13-10. That's the price of number 3, 2Gs. Then we got number 6, Rafif Choice at 7-1, 9, Siberian Winter at 11-2, and we got number 13, Colorado Creek at 11-2. I'm out of the 2s thus far. I'm out of the 2s, but there's a 2Gs here. So I don't know what to do. I'm in a space because I'm out of 2s. We've been going with that theme throughout the race meeting, but now there's 2Gs comes up. I think the best way to sum this up, if you want to follow the money, follow the Western Cape form line as this filly showed last time out, where she was too good coming through from the Western Cape, then it's 2Gs. So there's 2 ways of playing this. I'm going to throw the ball in your court, Sheldon. It's either 2Gs or the field. I've written down the big F for field in all the exotics because I like the races prior to this where you can narrow things down. I was playing for a result here, but the way the money is coming now for Garrett van Zyle's runner, there's confidence.
Yes, confidence obviously coming through from the yard, and just knowing the horse and knowing the specimen, a lot to come. Obviously, we got Sharfolia with Gareth van Zyl earlier in the day, and they'll be looking for a double with number 3, 2Gs. A horse who's an 84 in the handicap, won 50% of her races to date, and you've got to be on the right track there. But now, D's, I'm going to throw you a shrewdy at 20-1. Number 7, Sunshine Day. With Andrew Fortune aboard. I've been waiting for this horse to find the right race, the right day, and then I'm having a go. And this is the time at 20-1 each way. A nice place proposition. The last few runs has been up there. Was beaten 7.7 lengths by 2Gs, but dropping to 1,200 meters, I've been waiting a while. Has dropped down to a 75 in the handicap. So going to be a lot closer to number 3, 2Gs.